Well, good evening. I'm Epstein with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening. As we're here now on Wednesday, and we're at the 13th of March, 2024. I don't even know what time it is anymore of the year because it's so warm in Chicago. I mean, it's just been unbelievably beautiful in the 70s. This should be 30s and 40s, not 70s at this time. And we're there. So it gets pretty crazy and it throws you off. What hasn't thrown me off is, you're watching what's going on now in the stock indices, and there's all kinds of rotation in these markets going on. All you need to do is turn on financial TV. I was listening today to CNBC as to how people are just jumping everywhere to catch whatever the next event is. And rightly so, they're saying, the move temporarily in the Nvidias, the Apples, those have been hurt. Now we're starting to hear more talk about the positives about Netflix and the Amazon, but the Googles didn't make their play. Meta's had a nice run up. Do you put more money there? We know that Microsoft, as great a company as it is, it's looking for the next move to the upside, which I think is right around the corner. But the big companies like this, they're not where the play is. If you look at the new day's highs for the day, companies in many cases you've never heard of. And that's because people have been rotating into the small caps, looking for PE ratios, 10, 15 to 1, not paying these crazy prices and hoping that something grabs hold. Is that indicative of a broadening, as they call it, or a top? I'll let you make that decision, all right? Those that have been calling it as a top have been wrong for a very long time. But now we're at a new phase of the market where it's not the techs that are leading the parade right now. It's other stocks that are finally doing that, all right? Even NVIDIA isn't running to the upside. We get $20, $50 up, $100 down, then $90 up. You're getting that type of swing finally in the market. When I look at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I'm a little disappointed that it hasn't gotten through that high that I'm pointing at right there. You can see where it's at right through here. And the reason that I'm upset is that's the last rally high of 220.80, and that would break the short downtrend that we have. The good news is the market has found a way to fight a battle at the 18-day average of closes, which is a positive, but it hasn't broken out in any manner. And remember, they just did a filing to have cash treasuries traded. There'll be a clearinghouse for that. That could bring in a nice revenue. Where's the bump here? Isn't there volume happening in the futures market? I keep hearing buy the NASDAQ, buy these other markets. I would have thought this could have gone too, because the others have made nice moves. When we take a look at where you're at in momentum, well, it's no longer pointing down. It's sort of flattened out, and we get that impression here. The next move, if it jumps to the upside, should be resistance in the 223.50 area, something in that zone. DraftKings. So it tried today to get up. I've been saying, where is the move in this if we're going to start and see a lot of betting coming on because of the March Madness? And it went up to the old high of 43.68 from 5 days ago. It double topped there and got thrown back. Next time it gets through could be interesting, and maybe the market gets that little bit of a spurt. But maybe it also, because it was down here in the low 30s, it's finding that being in the mid to high 40s is just too much for it to do anything with. Now, gasoline, I've told you I like this, all right? I like the crudes, I like the energies. I think you got to get yourself positioned in them to catch the play. The one you don't want to own, and the one that I have been having traders go short in the futures, has been natural gas, but even that's time to lift some of those shorts, in my opinion. When you look at XLF, the financial services, you're back up to the neighborhood of the Bollinger Band. As long as you have this embedded reading, what do I repeat over and over? I'm looking for reasons to be what? A buyer, not a seller. Now, there is a way to come in on that. I show that in my morning subscriber videos each and every morning. Actually show it, let me give the mornings, Monday through Friday. And then over the weekend, I talk about the weekly charts and what I'm seeing there. What I'm seeing on the industrial sector is bothersome to me. You lost the embedded reading. It either gets through 123.50 and gets this number way swinging back up, or the market's likely to be going back to the 18-day average. When I see a loss of momentum, it's my first warning sign to me, and I tell my subscribers, I think it's time to be away from that market, let it reprove itself. AMC hasn't done anything. It needs a close. I'm going to keep reporting over the 451 level to finally say, maybe this thing's ready to pick itself up and go somewhere for the spring, summer season. I also saw the trailers during, and I mentioned that to you, Oscar season, and probably the next hit will be the one coming out right now, Godzilla. That'll have a certain audience. It's certainly not going to be a Barbie or an Oppenheimer, but it could be big. It has a following. I mean, a huge following. Higher lows, higher highs, and I'm looking for the resistance 50.38, but that consumer's still strong. And if central banks around the world cut rates, they're going to make the consumer, wherever that happens, stronger. The idea there is then to pick up the economies. Now, Japan is having its final wage negotiations right now, and so far, big increases in pay are taking place. In the home builders, you had mixed results today in Lennard. The others have picked up, and you're back to the resistance point. Long term, you don't want to be bearish this. You want to be, as I said, positioned on the long side for the spring, summer buying. It's one thing to want to come out of positions. It's another, and it's another to want to be short. You're not hearing me say that at all. So I am still looking for a way that back in. I thought that up here is where the market would have some problems, and it did. And now the question is, what do you do with it again? When you look at XLE, the energy sector, again, embedded reading, pullbacks. I teach clients never to buy over a Bollinger Band. Let me just show you that chart. If you bought over or sold under, did you come out in good shape? The answer is typically no. You can do better. If you want to buy, wait for the market to come back into the band. In the gold market, bullish. What else can I say? In the futures, thank God, had clients come in recently in this. And I just missed it today, and I have to tell you, in the GLD, I'll work on it in the morning. But you can see that the market is still looking good until the red line closes under 79. I think the breaks are buys. We now know that the support's around the 199.16 and slightly above that. We'll see if the PPI reading in the morning does anything. And before I get too far, tomorrow at 7:30, you get PPI. You get advanced retail sales coming in at 7:30. The jobless claims at 7:30. Can you imagine how your screen's going to jump all over the place if you're watching the futures market at that hour? And what they do will determine an hour later when the stock market opens what's going to happen in the markets for that, because the PPI is going to be the event. We get business inventories at 9 and then some natural gas injection reports. But tomorrow is going to be an important day, and the PPI is what traders are going to all focus on. I'll be writing about it. We'll see what it does. Remember, it doesn't weight heavily in any manner shelter costs, so it's all a different reading. I think a cleaner reading at what inflation is actually doing. Copper took off today. I mean, this is a market that's just accelerating with that embedded reading. It's been a son of a gun to buy. You had a bullish crossover today. The 18-day average got over the 200-day, and as soon as that happened, kaboom, to the upside. The market went, moving average traders stepped in. Bonds and TLT, they have been falling back off of the CPI number, but now they get a reprieve. They get to see the PPI in the morning before we'll see that in the futures before they ever open. In the dollar, still in the bearish trend. And why? Because traders are thinking the Fed is going to cut rates. They still believe in June. They're still betting on about 3 cuts this year. Now remember, next week we have the FOMC meeting and we get the all-important dot plot. Did the members change? Did they make a switch? Going to be a big, big dot plot day. More important than what the statement is. Everybody's going to want to see the dot plot and see what the members it's anonymous how they get shown on that, what do they think as a group and where they headed. And from there, the market goes one way or the other. But I think that's what you got to focus on. And FXE, no setback today at all on the revisions, the revamping that the European Central Bank is making to how the monetary policies will work, how much money you have to have up with the bank, how you have to pay for that, everything there. No, they expanded, but they didn't alter the policy in a big way, and I think that was important. So you put it all together, friends, you try to come up with ideas, and that's what I try to do with you first thing in the morning. At about 9 every morning, that's Central Daylight Time now, I let the first half hour of trading go by. I want the trades that are overnight trades, aftermarket trades, and the morning reports. You typically get your last economic data report at 9 a.m. Central Time. So I want that in, and then I do the recording of, and these vary all the time. I'm always doing about 40 charts, but I vary them, just like I do here. You see the CME that we're talking about. But the idea there, buy here, sell there, here's the stop, do this. I do not walk on water, but I also don't drown a lot. How's that? All right, balanced statement. So you put it together, you try to come up with game plans, and that is what it's about, trying to come up with game plans. How do you get this? Go to iraepstein.com, go to the word research. It's all there for you. Can't be any simpler. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening. I'll catch up with everybody first thing in the morning as I review the PPI with you right here. Take care.